Upon seeing Jiang's poisonous mist, Jiang's eyes widened in surprise and his jaw dropped, realizing that Jiang had defeated a 6th-level beast. With strength similar to that of a professional of the 6th transformation of star rank. Aunt Tang's eyes expanded in confusion. She was in shock upon seeing our boy's power. To them, Jiang Chen was not someone ordinary, realizing that now the city of Kujiang had hope. Jiang turned towards them and couldn't help but feel relieved to see that he had arrived on time. With a confident smile, he revealed that this time he was not alone, his companions had also come. This was not just a rescue mission, but the final stage of the genius ranking competition, a battle for glory and merit. At the same time, Tang Ying and Bai Feng were fighting against several beasts, both turned their backs to each other and started battling. With a confused expression, she began looking at Jiang and explained that even if they gave their best effort, it took them several minutes to defeat a level 4 fierce beast. But Jiang Chen, using Little Nine's poisonous mist, had annihilated a 6th-level beast in less than a minute. For her, competing for the merit ranking made no sense. A beast tried to attack Bai Feng, but he drew his sword and cut the monster's head in half. His attention fixed on Tang Ying, and with a calm gaze, he explained that this was not as unfair as she believed since, after all, the merits that Jiang obtained using the power of the 9 miasma wings only counted as 1/10 of normal merits. Not far away were Lai and his friend. Lei's eyes began to shine with excitement, and with a smile, he attacked a beast, slamming its body against the ground and tearing off a limb. He was excited because it was the first time he had fought against a horde of beasts, realizing that they kept coming non-stop. His friend, who was behind him, extended his hands and using his power began to strengthen Lai, asking him not to get distracted since these beasts were not like those from the camp of geniuses. They had to be careful with beasts beyond their ability since they could attack them by surprise. Mu Henkyu and Luo Sando had also come to help Jiang. Mu Henkyu drew both daggers and defeated a flying beast, but just then, another beast tried to launch a surprise attack. Fortunately, Luo Sando summoned a barrier around her, blocking the attack. Luo Sando's eyes filled with seriousness, and she asked Mu Henkyu to remain calm since as long as she was covering her, there was nothing to fear. With a determined gaze, Mu Henkyu promised to fight with everything she had to protect Jiang's city. They did not care about the competition. They were willing to let others fight for the genius ranking since they only cared about Jiang. Jianyu decided not to stand idly by. She raised the bow into the sky and used the scorching sun technique called Golden Phoenix Fire Rain, causing a powerful phoenix made of fire to emerge from her bow. During the secret realm, she had not shown a good performance and knew that now was the perfect time to do so. She decided to give her best to impress Jiang. Jiang Wuxuan clasped his hands together and used his power, causing a powerful golden energy to emerge from his body. He used the technique called War God's Body, making a powerful 9-armed spirit appear. A beast tried to attack, but the spirit delivered a powerful punch, splitting the beast's body in half. Jiang Wuxuan wanted to completely master the invincible heart since he did not want Jiang Cheng to be the only hero. And although in the secret realm he had not been up to par with him, now things were different. Yin Zhang's eyes began to shine with excitement. He had defeated a large number of beasts, and now under his feet was a mountain of corpses. Several powerful beasts began to fly towards him. Yin Zhang started to smile and decided that it was time to use the human emperor's sword. A powerful sword surrounded by a suffocating energy began to descend from the sky. Before in the secret realm, he had thought that he didn't need to use this sword against them. But now he had realized that if he wanted to defeat Jiang, he had to give it his all. As the only descendant of the human emperor, he made it clear that the first place in the genius ranking belonged to him. Seeing their power, Aunt Tang grabbed Jiang by the arm and with a surprised expression said that the new generation of geniuses was incredible. Jiang's eyes widened in fear. Realizing they were getting old, Jiang clenched his fist tightly and with a smile began to release poisonous mist. He felt excited since Jiang Wushuang had become much more powerful compared to when they were in the secret realm, and Yin Chang had unsheathed the human emperor's sword. Jiang and Aunt Tang started watching our boy, not knowing why he was smiling. Jiang knew very well that even though he had Little Nine as his trump card, he couldn't just stand idly by. Jiang took momentum, and while his eyes were shining with joy, he began to move quickly towards the horde of beasts, and with a smile. He asked Jiang and Tang to watch since today he was not only going to finish off the beasts, but also going to obtain the first place in the ranking of geniuses. Jiang and Tang started to observe our boy, firmly believing that he could achieve it. Xiaoqi stood up, extended her hands towards Shu Belong and the others, and using her power, she began to heal them. Jiang stood up, began to approach them, and with an expression full of fear revealed that he had a bad feeling, asking Xiaoqi to come with him as they needed to hurry and repair the protection spell. With a serious gaze, she turned to Jiang and nodded her head. Not far from the area was the lover. Her eyes widened in rage upon seeing Jiang Cheng. She was furious not knowing how he and the others were still alive. They were on top of a cliff. In the middle of the city, a great explosion occurred, and the air filled with poisonous mist. She was confused, not knowing if the young divine had been defeated. She had heard about the poisonous mist of the 9 miasma wings, but had never imagined it would be such a powerful ability. She leaped and decided to go to Jiang's underground rift to inform the ancient god, ordering her subordinates to immediately report to the Abyss Spider Queen so that she could act at once, since only she could face off against the 9 miasma wings. The hooded men crouched down and nodded their heads. Back to the battle, Jiang drew his sword, and using the Thunder Sword skill, he moved quickly, cutting the body of a beast into pieces. After defeating the beast, he rested his sword on his shoulder, and his eyes widened with confidence. Little Nine manifested, but now in the form of the mother insect. She devoured a beast and with a piercing gaze informed Jiang that she had eaten another beast. With a smile, our boy gave her permission to eat until she could no longer. Little by little, she began to fill up, and after devouring so many beasts, the system granted our boy more than 60,000 experience points, leveling up from 48 to 57 in an instant. Jiang appeared in his sea of consciousness where Little Nine was eating a beast. Our boy extended his hand, making appear the cards he had obtained from the tree's fruits. His eyes widened with joy as a smile appeared on his face. Thanks to the double experience card, he and Little Nine had reached level 57. This horde of beasts was a perfect opportunity, as if that weren't enough, they also had an exemption card for the 3rd transformation. So tonight they were going to be able to complete it, obtaining a new mother insect. Zhao Jia appeared, began to show a finger, and with a sincere look explained that on the battlefield there were many souls, asking if he needed help to collect them. Upon hearing his voice, Jiang turned towards him, and with a confused expression asked if he did not want to devour the souls. Zhao Jia began to gaze at the ground and touch the tips of his fingers, explaining that these things did not interest him since Jiang had promised him a great banquet. But our boy explained that the fruits of the tree needed to be watered with souls, asking him to go collect the souls. With a serious expression, he asked Zhao Jia to be careful and keep a low profile since he was his secret card and should not reveal his existence unless absolutely necessary. Zhao Jia nodded his head. The merit list of Grand Zia appeared. In the first place was Zhang Xuanzi, in the second was Zhu Linggu. In the third, the great dreamer Huan Yu. In 28th place was Gu Kaishan. In 296th place was Zhang Chen. In 401st place was Ying Zhang. And in 568th place was Zhang Hoshuang. Ying Zhang, who was holding the human emperor's sword, began to observe the bracelet, and upon seeing that in such a short time Zhang Chen had entered the top 300 of the Daxia merit ranking, his eyes filled with rage as, unlike Jiang, he was still outside the top 400. With an expression full of determination, Ying Zhang moved quickly and started using the sword to massacre all the beasts in his path. He knew that if he wanted to surpass Jiang, he had to find another way. Merits could not only be obtained by killing beasts, but also by contributing. He knew that with such a large horde of beasts, there had to be a rift. He decided to find it and destroy it, since only this way would he be able to surpass Jiang. At the same time, Jiang and the others were on top of the city wall. Zhao Qi's eyes widened with seriousness. She placed her hands on her knees and informed Jiang that she had already repaired the protection spell. Jiang, who was sitting on the wall, began to observe Jiang and asked why he had ventured so deep into enemy lines. Shu Bulan crossed his arms and explained that he had nothing to fear since, with the help of the 9 miasma wings, he could carve his way through. Jiang Chen was like a monarch, strolling through his own territory. Jiang's eyes widened with confidence. He began pointing at Jiang with his finger, and thought that he must be taking advantage of this great opportunity to level up and advance directly to the 3rd transformation. Su Bulan's eyes expanded in surprise upon learning that Jiang was about to advance to the 3rd transformation. He put his hand under his chin and remembered that after the 3rd class change, warriors became stronger and could even evolve their professions. But the 3rd change mission was a great obstacle, in which even Shu Bulan had been stuck for 4 years. Jiang's gaze fixed on Jiang, and he began to imagine Jiang Xuanji Gu Kaishan and Jiang explaining that the 3rd, 6th, and 9th class changes were 3 great challenges, difficult to overcome. Many Awakens spent their entire lives without being able to break these barriers, but this generation of prodigies was different. Yin Zhan, Jai Xuanyu, and Zhang Wushuang had reached the 3rd class change before the great genius competition. Some were even already at a stage where they could reach the 4th transformation at any moment. Compared to them, Jiang Chen was somewhat slow. As they were conversing, Jiang's ancestral tree manifested itself, capturing everyone's attention. Jiang's eyes widened in surprise along with those of Shu Bulan and Kaioki as their jaws dropped upon realizing that Jiang had begun the 3rd class change. They were in shock seeing that his professions were improving directly. No one knew how he had skipped the class change mission. The ancestral tree was gigantic, and the area was filled with the corpses of beasts. Seeing this, Jiang couldn't help but wonder if Jiang had some legendary item to skip the mission. But he panicked since he knew that Jiang had been transported to the initiation space, leaving him vulnerable and making it very dangerous. Tang Ying's attention, who was holding the body of a beast, and Bai Feng's focused on the ancestral tree. To them, Jiang was very brave for wanting to make a breakthrough directly on the battlefield. They decided to hurry and go protect him. Luo Sandao jumped and asked Mu Hankyu not to get caught up in battle since Jiang was making a breakthrough, and they needed to go protect him. Jiang Wuxiang's eyes widened with excitement. He knew that he couldn't surpass him for now, so he decided to go help defend him. Meanwhile, Ying Zhang reached a giant beast which could establish a long-distance transmission channel. There were 2 beasts, one called Yin and the other Yang. The Yang beast was in front of him, and the Yin beast had to be on the other side, underground. He began to observe the beast and felt fortunate, since he only had to eliminate one of them, and the transmission would stop. He gripped his sword tightly, and despite knowing that this was a 7th-level beast, it was no match for the descendant of the human emperor. With a confident expression, he took out 3 forbidden spell seals, which were more than enough to defeat a 7th-level beast. He was confident that first place in the genius ranking would be his. Just then, the portal behind him activated. Ying Jiang turned around and with a confused expression began to wonder what was happening. Not long after, someone emerged from the portal. Ying Jiang's attention fixed on it, and his eyes widened in fear, leaving him in shock. A powerful spider emerged from the portal and began staring at Ying Jiang. To her, he looked delicious. His attention fixed on her, and it didn't take long for him to realize that she was the Abyss Spider Queen. Compared to the spider, Ying Jiang was like a small insect. he remembered that she had managed to escape several times from the hands of the sword god Jai Lingqiu, so her strength was not ordinary. Moreover, forbidden spell seals were useless against her, making him realize that he had to flee since he was no match for her. He knew that Jiang Cheng was in the middle of his breakthrough. He had to find a way to escape and warn the others. The Spider Queen attacked with her sharp leg, but Ying Jiang reacted in time and, jumping, dodged the attack. Instead of fighting, he used the blood explosion technique and started to flee the area. The Spider Queen began to watch him in silence. Then, she extended her leg toward him and attacked. According to her, he was naive for thinking he could escape. Silk emerged from her leg and wrapped around Ying Jiang's arm. His eyes widened in fear. He clenched his teeth and his eyes began to shine with determination. Without hesitating for a second, using the sword, he cut off his own arm. And then he cut off both legs, causing blood to spurt out like jets. Ying Jiang used the ability called concentrated blood mist and began to fly quickly toward the ancestral tree. The Spider Queen's eyes began to shine as she realized that Ying Jiang's body was full of vitality. Two men from the cult prostrated themselves before her, explaining that Jiang Cheng was in the middle of his breakthrough. His consciousness had entered the initiation space. So this was the perfect moment, asking her to go kill him to prevent him from causing problems in the future. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,